In this video, I'm going to try and paint another picture. This painting is going to be what I get up and look at every morning. At least that's what I'm going to try to create. So what I have is my canvas, which is already prepped with a thin coat of white diluted with some medium, and I got my colors on my palette. So I'm going to go ahead and start off. I believe I'm going to be going into some phthalo blue. And so it's phthalo blue, let's do some sap green. I'm going to mix that on my palette here. Then I'm going to put a little bit of Van Dyke brown in there too. Get a nice dark color. And I'm just going to go across the top of the painting. Just doing like a X stroke or crisscross stroke. And come down. Just slowly let it blend in with the white median on the background, so I want it to be a little lighter as it gets down to the bottom. A little bit more phthalo blue, or Prussian blue rather. Okay, so that's going to be the background there. So the next step I am going to go into is I'm going to go ahead and grab some more of that sap green and some more of the Van Dyke brown, and also a little bit of the burnt sienna. And I'm going to try to get a nice color here. I'm going through the dark green, I don't know if you can see that. And let's just say, starting off the canvas, we're going to go, need to put a weight on the back of this easel. So let's just go ahead and drop a dark color in here. So, and then we're going to also get some more paint because I need more paint on the brush. We're going to just do in some dark coloring of to what would be some trees here. Okay, and then let's go ahead and grab a little bit more green color. I'm going to come across it like so. And so far all with the same dirty brush. So now I'm going to go into a little bit of, actually I'm going to keep that brush to the side. And I'm going to go into my, I'm going to get my fan brush, actually get a bigger fan brush than that. Now that's a fan brush there. So I'm going to go ahead into a little bit of permanent yellow and then a little bit of Indian yellow and also a little green. Put a little green in there, a little bit more yellow than that. A little more Indian yellow. I want a good mix, but I don't want it to be super mixed up. I want a little bit of variation in the colors. There we go. I think that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and just tap in a little area. I want a little bit more yellow on there. Run some yellow in the background right here. And if you have a, trouble, like right now I'm having some trouble getting my paint to stick, so I'm going to add a little bit of liquid medium to that. Okay, so now that I got that in there, I'm going to go ahead and into some Van Dyke Brown, which I'm almost out of. I'm going to load up just one side of the brush with the Van Dyke Brown. And I'm going to go over here to Titanium White and just grab a little bit of that. And load up that side of the brush with Titanium White. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drop in tree trunk right here. Just an indication of a tree trunk. Because we're going to come on back on top of those with some more color. I'm going to go ahead and wash that brush out. I'm going to go back into that little bit of yellow with some green. And I'm just going to go ahead and tap in some highlights here. Trying to give little highlights to these trees. These trees are still quite in the background, but they're there. Let's go ahead and add a little more yellow. That looks a little better. However, I think I should have put more paint on this canvas because I'm quickly running out of paint. Okay, so there they are. So let's go ahead and load that brush, that fan brush up with that yellow, what's left of the yellow anyway, and a little bit more Indian yellow in there. And I'm just going to come through and try and put these trees in the back there. A bit more paint. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean that brush again. I'm going to go ahead and add a whole lot more yellow to my palette. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and use my palette knife and just scrape off this area here that I had. And go and put that to the side for right now. And just plop the yellow down on there. I always try to keep my colors in the tube as pure as possible, and the best way to do that is to always make sure your palette is as clean as possible. So I feel I'm going to use a lot more yellow in this painting. So let's go ahead and add quite a bit. That's probably not even enough there. So let's load up with yellow here on the old fan brush. We'll grab a little bit more Indian yellow. There you go. Okay, so let me go ahead and let's try a little bit of water here. Let's try and add some, while keeping the dark areas there. Let's just try and put a little bit more indication of little grassies out here. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Let's go ahead and put some water in, why not? Okay, so we're going to go back into some, let's do some more yellow, some of that darker color, and some of that, we'll do some phthalo blue, which my phthalo blue is running into my Prussian blue. So we're going to go ahead and add some more little grassies right along here. And I'm pushing up on the fan brush, try and get those little grassies. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my knife and I'm going to go into some of this Van Dyke brown. And I'm just going to pull that out and grab just a little bit on the tip of the knife. I'm going to add in some just a little rock, or yeah, a little dirt and rock on the shoreline here. Just a very light touch. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of the Indian yellow, add that to it with some Van Dyke brown, or some burnt sienna, a little bit of white. I'm going to get that nice, so I'm not going for a well mixed color, nice marble color, and that's going to be a little bit of a highlight here. So I'm just going to tap that along to get just a little bit of a highlight color there. Okay, so that looks good there, I think. Anyway, so what I'll do is I'll take this, let's go ahead and bring that water line a little bit further up. Let's go ahead and just grab it and pull it down. Try and create a little bit of a reflection there, and just lightly across. Boy, that looks like crap. Ah, but it looks like a good crap to me. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and clean that brush. And once again, I'm cleaning my brushes in just plain water because this is water-soluble oil. And then I shake it out into a bucket with a little beer bar rack in it. And that helps to clean that out. Okay, so let's put that brush down. We'll go to another 2-inch brush that I have available. And we're just going to go ahead into this green here with a little bit of yellow. Try and load that brush up again with that color. I'm going to go ahead and try it. Let's see. Yeah, right here. We're just going to bring this color around. A little bit more blue in that. Let's go with a darker color. There you go. That's better. We're going to come around like this, and also come around like that. We don't know what's off to the side there. We're just going to fill in with dark color here. Just going to grab a little bit of everything. Let's just make a hodgepodge there. Blend that out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to use that clean brush again. I'm going to go back into the Indian yellow. We're just going to go ahead and add maybe some bushes over here, maybe not. I really got to get better at this. There it goes. So add in some bushes that go along the shoreline here. You know what brush will probably work a lot better than that is this fan brush. No, maybe not that either. Okay, we'll go back to this brush. Need a whole lot more yellow. So let's go ahead and clean the brush. Let's try and get some of that darker color off of there. Maybe that'll work. Go ahead and wipe that brush off. Okay, so let's. I didn't have a color on there that I'm going to try a different color here, a little bit of red. Let's try a little red, see what that does. Besides make a bigger mess. So I'm going to try a little bit of red with a little bit of yellow thrown in there just for good measure. Let's just go ahead and tap that in. That seems to be working a little better. Okay, you know what? If I remember correctly, I do have a little bit of a trail that comes probably over here. A little bit of this sienna. Let's just bring it right around here. Kind of goes off to nowhere, but or comes from nowhere to nowhere, but we'll just go ahead with that for right now. Wipe that knife off, and we'll go back to this with some yellow, some of the red. We're just gonna follow quite a bit more yellow in there, huh? I don't know how he does it. There it goes. let's go ahead and bring this down. Give me a chance to get some of that paint off that brush too. The paint, brush is loaded with paint. So I'm gonna Okay, so let's go ahead and push that back. We're going to go ahead and get a clean brush going here. We're going to go into that yellow and red color, and we're just going to tap on in. Try to put that into the back. There. Alrighty, so let's clean off the palette a little bit, because I got paint all over the place and it's doing no good. I wonder if I can make a nice brown with that. All that leftover paint. Well, let's go ahead and use that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tap in a tree, big old tree, that is going to come right up like so. It's a big tree. It's way off the canvas on the other side. Almost don't get to actually see that other side of the tree. He's so big. Put in a dark color and just pulling it. This is where it'd be better if I was left-handed, because I'm going to have to pull it to the left now. I'm trying to get a lot of paint on there, a lot of texture, because this is a big old tree and it's got some very gnarly bark on it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little bit of blue and a little bit of red to that color. A little bit of white too. Actually, I changed my mind. It's my painting and I can do whatever I want. So if you ever try to paint, you can do the same exact thing. You can change your mind at any time. Do whatever you want to your painting. It's called artistic license. And a little bit of shadow or a little bit of highlight on that side there. I'm going to also, so say he's got a limb that comes down. It's a very big limb. So he's going to drape down over here. He's got a little buddy that comes off of him. And maybe, just maybe, he is full of leaves. So let's go ahead and add some, going into Prussian blue and a little bit of yellow. That's all I have left. And we're going to go ahead and just give some leaves to this. We're going to go ahead and add, actually, going to go ahead and clean that brush a little. And let's go ahead and clean all the brushes. I got a lot of brushes here, and they're not doing me any good dirty. Oh. I'm going to go ahead and load up a 1-inch flat brush. Let's go ahead and tap some yellow into these leaves. That isn't working. That brush is too firm, so I want a softer brush, and I know just a brush for it. I've used this brush before for doing leaves. It's perfect for that. Why didn't I think of this earlier? I'm just going to go ahead and tap in some highlights. Once again, if you can't get the paint to stick, add a little bit of medium to it, because it make it thinner. And this light is terrible, I know, but it's what I have to work with. I'm going to need a little bit more medium. I have a little dropper bottle here so I can kind of figure out exactly how much I'm going to need for this, for painting, because I have never used this stuff before. Usually it's just linseed oil. And that looks a little better. Not the best. The other option would be to go back to the EO fan brush and load that up with paint, and then tap that in. Of course, if I wanted to spice it up a bit, a little bit of color to it, and that'll look a lot better. Let's go ahead and bring that up there. Okay, so you know what? Let's go ahead and go back to that. I got this fan brush going already. Let's go ahead and say there's a, well, actually, let's go to a bigger brush. I'm going to put a lot of paint down at a time. So we're going to go back into this brownish color, and we're just going to toss the canvas around. Set some, this is going to be a tree right here. I just have a feeling. And it's a big tree that hangs out over the water here. Let's go ahead and we got that brown already. We're going to go ahead and load up that fan brush and just go. Actually, need more brown there. So let's go ahead and get some more Van Dyke brown out. That's Dick Van Dyke brown. Go ahead and load up that fan brush with that. And then, like I did before with trees in the background, I'm going to load up just one side of that with just a little bit of yellow to dull it out. Make sure that I got that correctly, and then just he's got a little there. Let's go ahead and put some more paint on there. Now we're not looking for a lot of detail there because we're gonna do what we did before and cover that up. So let's go back to the brush we were using with the yellow on it, and we're going to go ahead and almost out of yellow. Oh well. Actually, that's not the brush I want. That's not the brush I'm looking for. This is the brush I'm looking for. I'm going to go ahead and load that up with yellow, maybe a little bit of red. And then let's go ahead and try to get on the tip of the brush there. There she goes. That looks better. Okay. So now in the foreground here, I do know that we're going to have some, get that fan brush out again. Where did I put that little fan brush? There she is. Okay, so we got all that brown there. So let's do another little tree about right here. And bracket him around with a tree on this side too. Let's go ahead and add him a limb in here. There she goes. Actually, no. Yeah, let's put another tree over here. Right here. That sounds good. Okay, so go back into that Van Dyke brown. Probably should have done this before. Let's go ahead and run some bark texture down it. Let's go ahead and, you know what, there's something I forgot to do. I should have done this earlier. I do apologize. So I'm going to take some white, thin it way out with some medium out of my little medium dropper. Pull it out as flat as I can and take a roll. I forgot to do this. Ah, that's a little better. So what I can do also, which I just dawned on me, I can do, well, let's do it with this brush here. Just blend that right out. Let's enjoy these little blender brushes. Alrighty, so let's go back to those trees that I was working on before. And grab some paint. Get a little bit of yellow to that highlight side. Let's go ahead and bring this out. Alrighty. You got paint all over me. Occupational hazard, I guess. Alright, so we'll get the dark color brush. Go ahead and we don't want to lose all the background. So we're just going to lay this in kind of in the shape of a tree. Keeping in mind that trees don't all grow in the same shape every time. Okay, so got those two trees growing in together there. And I'm going to add some more yellow. Let's do a different color yellow this time. Let's go with some yellow ochre. I'm going to put some yellow ochre in there as highlights. I'm almost out of my normal yellow. I'm just going to beat that into the bristles really good. And let's go up here and decide where these little leavies are going to live. One of the things that I'm noticing here is if I the key is to not paint with the brush, just tap it. I'm thinking that looks awful. Okay, so with the last little bit here, let's go ahead and we're going to stay in that Indian yellow here on this brush. And let's go ahead and well, that doesn't work. Go back to the old fan brush. Go ahead and do that same yellow color. I'm just going to go ahead and really do have to look in different color yellows, or get another tube of yellow paint. Never remember using this much yellow before. Ever. We're keeping the paint going with the flow of the land. If you hear any loud noises, it's that sound really weird. It's not someone being beaten outside. There's I just noticed some guinea fowl walk by the window there. If you ever have the opportunity to be on a farm where they're guinea fowl, they're pretty fun birds. They make a lot of noise when anybody other than them is near. They're kind of like a watchdog. Okay, so I am going to be really crazy now. I'm going to go ahead and, let's see here. Let's say there's a whole bunch of big, huge, there's a little clump of these little trees here. Or no, there's little grasses, a little clump of grasses here. They're kind of like a lily. I don't know if you've ever seen them before. There. And they will have little tiny red flowers on them. I'm going to go ahead and just push that into the background a little bit more. I'm going to call this one done because I don't think I want to mess it up any more than it already is. So go a little bit more darker color down to the bottom though. You know what? I might just add a little bit of yellow right along the base there. I think I'm going to call that one done.